things are getting pretty real out there. It's not an easy time for the world. And I suppose the question comes in, when you're not a giant corporation that can take massive financial knocks for months on end, what do you do as a small-time business? What do you do as a freelancer or a creative at a time where you feel sort of isolated more than ever? You know, being in a business, a small business, you already feel like you're on your own half the time. You already feel like you have to do things all on your own, that the challenges are yours to face, the brunts are yours, the successes are small because you're always worried about the next thing, and then something arrives which like completely sideswipes you, something which you really don't feel in control of, and that feels so absolutely massive that it just sort of, or at least for me, makes you feel like you just want to hide, that you want to be sort of just passive. You just want to go hide under a bed and not come out until everything's passed, and that you hope that financially you'll be okay somehow through magic. And this is obviously a difficult time for everybody. And even more so when you don't have the financial means to weather a storm of 3 or 4 or 5 months. Governments can only do what they can do. Countries can only do what they can. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that there are going to be challenges and things that you cannot control. There are going to be elements which are going to mess you up. It's going to mess your business up. And I was thinking to myself, what do you do in a time where there's, a limbo period? Everybody's sort of going, well, I don't want to commit to anything. In my case, being a marketing business and a web design business, when people are afraid and when they're sort of going, we don't know what the next thing is that's going to change, and it's not going to be for the better, it's going to be even harder. Something in the air tells you that. You kind of go, I don't want to commit to anything. And I'm sure that you as a creative, as an individual, a small business owner, you feel the same way. It's like, oh God, okay, I am screwed. And I think at this time, there is this sense of just reflection, which can be very potent. There is a sense that things are going to slow down. Things are already slowing down. And what can you do? I think I was watching a YouTuber who was talking as a musician, as a sort of one-man band. And he was saying, well, now he has time to write more music. He has time to record things. He has time to do things that he had tons of excuses for before not to do. And from a marketing perspective, the only advice I can really give you as a small business is that often your marketing, your branding, you never get time to really consolidate, to go, what's out there? What's our website like? What is our strategy? What is our business? What's worked? What hasn't worked? How can we consolidate? Start thinking creatively. You have time. Many of you have time now because you're not as busy. And for the foreseeable future, that may be the case, where you can say, let's really look at the design of what we're doing. Let's really ready that website. Let's film those videos. Let's record that stuff. Let's make those images, or let's start talking about them at least. Because so often that falls by the wayside. It's like you're running the business and you're in it, but you never get a chance for that bird's eye view. And I think that bird's eye view is here, and not just from a business perspective, but ultimately in your own lives. Which I suppose goes into what it's all about, is that in times of crisis, you become very human. You become very connected in a very direct way. We are mammals after all, and when you're sick and sort of people lie, not people, maybe something like a lion. When it's sick, it just lies in the shade and goes, I'm a lion and I'm sick. You can just leave me here until I'm better. And I think our world is sort of sharing this illness, that there's this time just to go, this is hard. And we don't know what's coming and how it's going to develop. But what I do think is important is that you can take stock, sit and think creatively. Because yes, everything finds an equilibrium again. Everything does. Water flows from a high point to a low point. Temperature evens out eventually. So there will be a time where you will be able to start operating your business again. But in the meantime, there's a lot to think about creatively that you ultimately don't get much time to do. And now is that chance. So there is always some level of give and take. There's always one side of the coin and the other. So my only advice is use this time, if you have the luxury of spending it at home or the luxury of taking it a little bit slower in your practical day-to-day life, that you start thinking about yourself as a creative entity again. And it always happens. Humans find ways to make art in times of war. They find, and that is what it is. It's a battle. A lot of it is a battle with self, a battle with identity, a battle with fear. And I just wish everybody the best of luck. And in my capacity here as someone who deals with helping businesses and people find and consolidate things around their marketing and so on. And please don't hop onto the train where I've seen so many businesses just bolt on this idea of illness as a way to sell themselves or use it as some cheesy pun. Think a little bit more deeply about it. You don't have to try and sell now at a time of crisis. You don't. You can hibernate for a little, lick your wounds, and think creatively about how you're going to rise out of the ashes. Good luck.